Tonight we talk about the business within the media and creative space. I'm very excited because I'm highly experienced in the space. I've been through the space over the past, half of my life I've spent in this space. So it's just beautiful to have like-minded people in the same room having a discussion about the business of media. It's one of the fastest growing industries in this country, specifically South Africa and the rest of the continent of Africa, whether it be print, television, art or music media, from the continent is becoming a global contender. Joining me to discuss the dynamics of this interesting industry is Daan du Toit, the co-owner of Kwenta Media, and Andrew Human. Interesting surname. He's the CEO of the Loeries Awards. Let me just say Loeries, and we'll have a chat now about the evolution of the Loeries and what they are being called now, as well as Sis Nolwazi Mdluli, who's the CEO of Kwenta Media. I'd like to welcome you guys to the show. They always say ladies first. Kwenta Media, I've always admired your work. I've always followed your work. I was having a chat off air with Andrew about a lot of the people that we get to invite on the show when we have conversations with. You know about their work, but you actually don't know the people behind the work. It's the same applies to yourself. For people who are not familiar with your work, what does Kwenta Media do?
Well, we are a group of young black women that love the media space. Okay. Well, we operating in the media, whether you're talking print, social and a bit of digital. We publish, the first magazine that we published about 8 years ago when we started hearing the word recession, was Mamas and Papas magazine.
Very popular, Mamas and Papas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Family magazine.
Family, parenting, pregnancy, lifestyle magazine. It followed by a African Travel Market magazine, which is a travel and tourism lifestyle magazine. And the latest baby that is 2 years old or turning 2, couple of months, it's Essays of Africa, which is a black African black women lifestyle magazine.
That is also your project.
That is our baby.
Very interesting. And how's the industry been as black women in that space? And I'll get into that in a moment. Mark One is a company that is a digital agency that you guys run. And you guys have grown over the past couple of years with your co-owner. I'm interested in knowing how has it been for you guys in the industry? Was it easy in growing the company?
Yeah, we have grown considerably over the last few years. It's challenging when we are in the digital media space. So in digital media, there is a shortage of talent, no doubt. And trying to grow a business when there's a shortage of talent is always tricky. We've been fortunate that we've had quite a good staff turnover, but a lot of guys do complain a lot about the staff turnover in our space. Yeah. But it's finding the right talent, and also, we also run an internship program, develop the talent, and that's what we find the biggest challenge is, to find the talent, but also develop new talent, because developing talent is obviously more time consuming. But there's definitely a shortage of talent. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Very interesting, and it's actually nice to have you on television, because you're telling me that's your first time on television.
Yes.
So it's nice you have to sit down and represent your company. As a black woman, or as a group of black women in the space, how has it been? Difficult? Easier?
It will never be easy. Yeah. I wish I can say it's easy. Sometimes you think, okay, we women, we're black, and it will be easy. We knew very well that it's just not going to be easy, especially tapping into the media space. It's a very hard, male-dominated space, and we know it's still predominantly white space. Yeah. So just getting there, really trying to make a mark. We've been in the space for 9 years, but every time you've got actually just to keep pushing. And it's just all about, pushing and really sharing and showing that the content that you're bringing for the consumer, it's completely different. There is a bit of sophistication there, because that's not just about pushing to the industry, but it's also about pushing to the readers also, for them to understand the sophistication that you're bringing to them.
Interesting. I'll hold you there. They're saying it's mainly white male dominated, and as a CEO of the Loeries, I'm sure that's not something that's new to you. There has been a rumor in the industry that the Loeries are white dominated, the Loeries, there isn't space for black companies or for black creatives to rise and grow their own advertising agency or digital agencies and so forth. Not only just the gender issue, but the race issue in the creative space or the Loeries. It's interesting that you have here, by the way, your work is amazing.
Thanks, Boo. Well, it's obviously it's a key question, and it's something that comes up. But one of the interesting things is if you look at brands and you look at advertising, one of the common things is that perception follows reality. So even if there's change, people perceive things the way they were. So the reality, strangely enough, is this year our jury presidents. I don't know, can any of you guys, we have jury presidents who are basically the senior decision makers of the panel, and we invite international people to oversee, so that there's a level of independence. So people also say, people basically say it's a bunch of white guys backslapping, giving each other awards, okay? So there's your perception. So the reality is we have jury presidents who, none of them who are from the whole continent, they're all from the rest of the world. And we bring in the jury presidents, and then we have panels under them, and these jury presidents, they're the final decision makers on what should be the most awarded work.
Very interesting.
Sorry, yeah? So do any of you guys have any idea who these 4 jury presidents would be, if they're male, female, black or white? No. So of our jury presidents this year, 3 of the 4 are female, and one of them is a black male from the United States.
Okay.
So in terms of transformation, we're looking at 100% transformation from a black and female representation on the jury president. Yes. We're monitoring this very actively now. Overall, our judging panels this year are over 60% transformed. Wow. Overall, our own board is over 60% transformed. Our chairman is black. We have several females on the board. In fact, white males are in a minority. So the reality is quite different to the perceptions. But that doesn't mean there's not an issue to address.
Yes.
Doesn't mean we have to, and I think going back to Daan's point, what we recognize is that the intellectual value of youngsters is really the core of our industry. So taking young creative people, bringing them into the industry is really where the strength lies. So we have to look and say, the future leaders are the smart young kids. Today, they're going to be running the show. Absolutely. Soon.
Continue with our discussion on the business of media. What do the Loeries do? What are the Loeries?
So the main role of the Loeries is to show the value that creativity adds. So how do your ideas add value? How does it add value to business? How does it add value to the economy? Ultimately, how does it add value to our lives? And this is the key thing. I think a lot of people don't realize how important ideas are. You can go into manufacturing, you can go into distribution, but if you're distributing a bad product or a bad idea, no matter how much money you put behind it, you won't fix it. So if you take Nolwazi working in media, you can spend as much money on media as you want. If you're putting media behind a bad idea, it's going to be you're going to see a bad idea a lot of times. So for example, you take TV ads, which is the obvious thing.
Yeah.
And people go, I hate the TV break. But a great ad comes on and you stop and you go, hey, there's that ad.
And people discuss it in the workplace.
Then you go to YouTube and you log on and you choose to watch a TV commercial. Do you know how many people go and watch TV commercials? But they'll only watch what's great. So what makes the difference between something that you'll watch on YouTube and something that you won't? It's the idea. It's the idea.
So you guys open up that space for creatives.
So we look purely at the idea. So we say, every year, what is the best creativity that's come out of the whole region? So now we look across the whole of Africa and the Middle East, and we're looking for ideas. So we reward the idea.
And I'd say I've got a great idea. I've got the first black-owned energy drink, and it's doing very well. How do I enter into the Loeries?
So every year, so we have an entry process. You have to submit your work. You have to say, hey, I've got this idea, and you have to have done it. That's the other thing. So we put pressure on you. Okay. So there's a lot of people who go, I've got this idea. So we say, no, show us that you can at least, you've made it happen. So you have to have the idea, and you have to have launched it. And then you say, I've got this drink, this is what I've done with it. We've got every point where, because a lot of people, again, they think advertising is a TV ad.
Yeah.
But advertising is every point where a brand interacts with a consumer.
I'll hold you there. She's nodding and she's agreeing. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think he has got a point there, because and they're moving forward now. It's all about the whole smart thinking. And when you were talking about the young creative energies that are out there, that's where now you say, how do we as content, because we media houses, we are the producers of content.
But the print media looks like it's dying. So how are you guys affected? Are you still producing physical?
That's why it's important that you become, a forward thinker. You've got actually to be very smart now. Look at the reaction of the consumer, and then say, what are the best way of creativity that I can now try to tap into the consumer as they move to whatever direction that you've got to understand and be in touch with the consumer. If the consumer is moving towards mobile, how do I take my content, because I am the content generator, how do I take my content to them? How do I bring in their particular advertiser and move my content and marry their advertising with them? That's actually where the smartness comes.
That's where Daan comes in, and that's exactly what you do, right?
I was just thinking when Andrew talked about that great TV ad. So someone does a great TV ad, people would then go to YouTube to watch that TV ad. Say, for instance, there's a great Ford ad, and then we will place an ad there for Toyota right next to it.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you guys know the stuff that's getting a lot of hits to advise your clients to advertise on those pages? Even, let's say, for instance, on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, that's just an example of YouTube, and there's different ways that you can for instance, on YouTube you can do keywords, and you can select certain videos.
Okay.
Obviously we wouldn't know necessarily, but you can see what is the most viewed video. Everybody can see what's the most viewed video daily on YouTube, and you can target those. Whether you're successful or not, that remains
Is there future? Are there opportunities in that space? Would you encourage a young entrepreneur right now to get into your space?
In digital space, definitely. I mean, digital, like I said earlier, is definitely a shortage, and we are planning more and more internship programs. So definitely opportunity for guys to get into that space.
Lovely. And young people that are watching right now that love to get in touch and know more about your company, how do they get in touch with you? Any websites?
We're at mark1.co.za.
Oh, Mark1 numerical.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mark1.co.za.
Yeah.
Very easy.
And obviously we're in the social space on Twitter and all that. So if you Google Mark1, you'll find us.
It's interesting. Like all the time, I've got the most interesting guests. I never have enough time, so I'm gonna have to ask you guys to sign off. Your last words, Mr. Andrew.
No, I'd say as well for young people. Your next guest actually said his voice is his invoice, and that's the actual thing. That for young people today, if you're entrepreneurial and you're creative, if you work in a design studio, you take your ideas, you convert them into product, and you convert that into salary and into income. And that's the thing, it's a very direct creative economy, and it offers so much opportunity for young people.
Is Nolwazi?
Well, for me, it's about the magazines. If you look at Mamas and Papas, African Travel Market, and Essays of Africa, those magazines, yes, we do have them, printed copies. You get them in all, retail stores, but at the same time, they are available on the digital platforms. So that should you prefer to consume or to access them on the digital platform, you've got that that opportunity too. So you just need to say, I want to print, or I just want to go on digital, or want to access them on the content on social media or any other environment. We've got those. We actually live on those different platforms.
I want to find out a little bit more about Kwenta Media website.
Oh yes, www.kwentamedia.com.